Hello, friends. Today is Tuesday, October 23rd, and we're here to bring you some spooky Level 1 news.
Is that your version of, hey guys, what's up?
Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe.
Once again, Wendell not with us. He is he's gone to a working group. They're focused on making a gender neutral form of the PCI connectivity. I think the world is ready.
I thought he was suffering for the company in Florida.
No.
No.
He's we're going to put an end to slot shaming.
How long were you thinking that joke up?
I just came up with it just now. In our first story, as we often do, we will start by talking about Ajit Pai.
Look at him. Ajit Pai killed the rules that would have helped Florida recover from the hurricane. He was criticizing Verizon, which is ironic considering everything about Ajit Pai.
Is it sponsored by Verizon? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. He almost never criticizes them, but he was criticizing them.
So the problem is we had, in case you don't follow the U.S. weather, had a couple of hurricanes.
A major one on the Gulf in the Florida Panhandle.
And it caused some damage, caused considerable damage with the technology and communications infrastructure. And some people still don't have internet. How long ago was that?
I think it was almost 2 weeks ago.
Can you imagine?
A lot of them don't even have like basic stuff. They have like water. I mean,
Internet is basic.
yeah, at this point, yeah.
So he was criticizing, saying, "Hey, you guys aren't doing enough. You got to get these people their, their infrastructure back. They got to have that internet." But it's pointed out by several people that Ajit Pai himself was responsible for deregulating the requirement for ISPs to restore all that service in a timely fashion in the event of a disaster.
Oops.
Ouch. Also pointed out is that Verizon's systematic deconstruction of the copper infrastructure in order to promote their FiOS nonsense further lends problems when you have this kind of thing, because now if you don't have wireless, you don't have anything.
Rip.
Ouch. A problem. And to compound Ajit Pai's worries when it comes to his two-facedness, lies.
His constant struggles. New York Attorney General expands inquiry into net neutrality comments. You guys probably remember us talking about this several times, where they had the big open forum where people could talk about whether they wanted net neutrality or not. And then it was revealed that like 90% of the comments were fake.
And they said that they were DDoSed.
Yeah.
Also proven to be fake. Well, the Attorney General has used Freedom of Information to get those records. And according to her team, there were about 4 messages in total, just repeated over and over. And they were identical. When you filter those out, everything left over is about 90% positive.
Yeah.
They've also tracked down lobby groups as the most probable source for all of these things. Although, interestingly enough, there were actually some pro net neutrality lobby groups that were spamming. But they seem to be completely drowned out by the other guys.
I could see that.
They were trying to cheat, but they weren't nearly as good at cheating. Not even close.
What's going to happen after this? Probably nothing.
Well, New York, they seem very determined to go after them. I don't know. New York, they had that. Remember the great headline? They were like, "We're throwing charter out of the state." They didn't.
Yeah.
So
nothing, no consequences.
It's amazing press for this Attorney General. So let's hope that she actually follows through. We'll see. At least we get a little bit of the truth, if nothing else, right?
That's true.
So that's probably more worthwhile than anything else that she's doing as her Attorney Generalship. Well, we talked about the TSA, and they're making things easier. How are they making things easier? By tracking everything about you.
We reported on this recently, where the TSA is going to do biometric scanning, but they were only going to do it for the fast pass people.
Pre-check.
Pre-check, that's right. But now they're going to do it to everybody. So now all of us get to suffer through this.
Yeah. Now, pre-check people, they'll be biometrically scanned and then passed on through. Regular plebs will be biometrically scanned, and then they'll still have to go through the questions and the beatings and the patting down and all that other sorts of things. The groping.
It's almost like they're just building a database of all that information.
It seems like it. And they're actually going to use the pre-check income, because you pay for that privilege,
yeah,
to pay for everybody else's biometric scanning. So thanks, pre-check people.
Okay, you know what Fast Pass is? It's when you go on a roller coaster and you have the Fast Pass, you can go in the other line. That's what I was thinking.
Well, Easy Pass is where you go through tolls. And you
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so all the good names are taken.
So they had to go with
Pre-check.
pre-check, which I
And
can't
anytime,
remember.
even when you see it in print, it's pre and then the little check mark.
Oh.
Not.
There's probably like a brand guideline that's very specific about that. Like, never use the word check.
Well, this week we have our first of what we have to have every week, and that is a data breach.
RIP. Pentagon reveals cyber breach of travel records. Sad. Sad.
So yeah, if you traveled and you work for the Pentagon, your travel records might have been leaked. This was a third-party company, but that doesn't really help much, does it?
Now, considering how many contractors the Pentagon probably works with.
And some of which might be sensitive. You know, it might be sensitive information that someone could get a hold of and know that you might be going back to that place. Or, you know, like maybe you're going to Saudi Arabia to cover up a murder. Yeah?
Well, you know, that's just part of your job.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting. So, very dangerous. And number 2, data breach comes from another government website.
HealthCare.gov, everybody's favorite healthcare website, suffers data breach exposing 75,000 consumers. So they wouldn't reveal what was actually leaked in this, though. Like,
Yeah.
it has to be medical stuff, though. Like, right?
I know they were very tight-lipped about it. I imagine the best case scenario is just whatever you put in to start looking for coverage, right? So probably, do you put your social in?
See, I went through the healthcare marketplace thing, and I don't think I had to, but I don't remember. It's been so long.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
It's a garbage website either way.
a bad idea. Remember when they built that website and it was 20 million lines of code for just a little marketplace lookup thing?
Yeah.
And it was like
As far as I know, there's no e-commerce on it. Like, I got it from some third-party source.
Yeah, I think it passes you off. It's really just
Yeah.
aggregating, and
All the different plans from other places.
it was just a big bloat project. And then they threw all that away and started over. So yeah, that's been great for the country.
It's good use of money. And I'm sure whatever contractor built that is rolling in money.
Oh yeah, well they looked at their background and they were well connected. I can't remember what the name of the place was. But business as usual. What's not business as usual is Vermont. Vermont has decided to strike back and fight against the evils of the repeal of net neutrality on a state level. And some people don't like that.
I was just going to read it out. Internet provider groups sue Vermont over net neutrality law.
Now this includes, let's list the offenders here.
Scroll on down.
AT&T,
Surprise.
Comcast,
You.
Verizon,
Also you.
and all the lobby groups that are associated with them.
They ain't got no Appalachian Wireless in Vermont.
Appalachian Wireless is
A treasure.
it's terrible service, completely overpriced, but you have to respect the genius because they looked at this little piece of scrappy mountainside and they were like, you know what? Someday the internet's going to come here no matter what. We should buy the rights to it immediately.
And they did. You see ads for it all over the place.
They're rich people now. And no, they don't just have the wireless. They have the cable too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Never looked into their packages. Not been interested in maybe becoming a customer of Appalachian Wireless, but
You know, it's funny because it's like 10 megabit. You know, it's garbage and it's expensive, but you can get it in the deepest holler.
yeah,
Whereas here, you go just a little bit outside of town, they're like, no,
there's
sorry.
nothing. Yeah.
We're not doing anything for you.
Did you tell the people here in the Good News Channel that you have bought a house?
Which was inspected yesterday, and I backed out as like running from a fire.
Oh, so you're not getting it?
Not getting it.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that. So that's news to me too.
Yeah.
What was? Okay, let's take a break from the news. Just a little segment. You can skip ahead in a minute.
Oh, you want to itemize?
List all the items that were wrong with the house
Electrical had to be rebuilt.
from the ground
The
up.
panel was like about to burst into flame, right? Every faucet except for one leaked. Every toilet except for one had some sort of deficiency. Both balconies were built incorrectly and were eventually going to fall down.
So you would have had to tear those off.
What were the other things? I don't know. I mean,
The electrical is the biggest concern. Like, 'cause that's a lot of money.
There's like a 20-page report that you can look at it if you want. But yeah, it was the cracks in the foundation, mold.
Oh.
There was some mold in the basement.
Well,
The best one. Here's the best one. The dryer didn't vent
where did it go?
in the room.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was no hole, so I would have to relocate the dryer. Yeah.
If just like one or two of those problems probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but like
No, it just
literally everything.
just
Yeah.
kept getting worse.
Oh, that sucks. So you're back on the house hunt for a house with internet that's not next to people.
I've got another prospect though. I'm gonna go look at maybe tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Chat, even though you're not the chat.
Well, speaking of disappointments, let's talk about Louis Rossman. Every time we talk about Louis Rossman, there's somebody in the comments like, "Oh my God, Louis Rossman!
He's my favorite."
I watched Louis. You watched that too? You like money? I like money." And don't do that, please. So Louis Rossman, if you don't know about him, if you're not part of that crowd, he's a very popular Apple repair guy. He makes YouTube videos about them. And he predicted the last time someone interviewed him, he was like, they're losing the right to repair battle because he's the big right to repair guy. And the next thing they're going to start doing, and we've actually covered this before, is they're going to use counterfeit laws to prevent Apple repair people from bringing in parts. And guess what?
That's exactly what happened. DHS seized aftermarket Apple laptop batteries from independent repairman Louis Rossman.
Expert, not man. How dare you downgrade his...
He could be, repair person.
Also gendering.
Yeah, how dare I?
So yeah, he ordered $1,000 worth of laptop batteries, got them shipped in from China because Apple doesn't sell parts. Everybody knows that, right? And
Which seems like a lost opportunity for them, but that's another discussion.
DHS seized them seemingly at the behest of Apple. Like it seemed like Apple called up the DHS and they're like, "Listen, peasants, go and get these hard drives and confiscate them." And they did. And here's the amazing thing about it. The laptops in question, I don't know what model it was, but they are considered vintage. Apple would call these vintage.
Which means old, you're not...
Well, to put it more bluntly, planned obsolescence. This is a laptop that Apple considers no longer a part of the Apple world. You shouldn't be using it because only an idiot would keep an Apple computer for that many years, right? Time to trade up. So
everyone's going to think you're not cool anymore, and that's why you buy an Apple product.
So if you have one of these and you're like, well, listen, man, I'm going to go to the Genius Bar like Apple tells me because I'm a good Apple citizen. I'm not one of these dissidents that goes to Louis Rossman, these renegades. Well, the geniuses will turn your ass around and send you packing because it's a vintage item. They don't work on them.
Bad news if you're an Apple consumer today.
Which you deserve.
Well, it's probably bad news for everybody because they've set a precedent now that you can do this with...
Well, Apple is, they're the most aggressive for sure. But yeah, Apple says if it's got an Apple logo on it and they don't approve of it, that's counterfeit. And the government seems to agree. Well, remember Equifax?
No. No one else does either.
Pepperidge Farm remembers Equifax.
It's a vintage
that
meme.
Was, what was that, 2 years ago? Or was that this year? I don't even remember.
I think that's almost 2 years ago now.
So they had the big breach.
Forever ago.
And it was famous, the breach. Well, why don't you read the title?
Equifax engineer who designed breach portal gets 8 months of house arrest for insider trading.
So yeah, when that breach happened, they decided not to tell us about it.
Yeah, they knew it was there.
We shouldn't tell anybody about this. Instead, let's start building up a way to protect ourselves. And one of the things they did, they started working on the portal so that you could go and look and see if anything was found out about you before they told us, before they told anybody. And this guy, he worked for them, and they came to him and they're like, "Hey, one of our clients got hacked. Why don't you build this portal?" Well, this guy was a smart cookie. And he said, "You know what? This is not a client. This is us." And he went to he used his wife's trading account because, you can get away with it if you use your wife's account.
I've got the worst attorneys.
And he used his wife's account and he bought some out-of-the-money puts for Equifax stock. And what do you know? I think it was an increase in the thousands of percentage 3,500% increase he made.
Basically, he made a lot of money.
He made $75,000 from a $3,000 investment. Oh, $2,000. And
Pretty good return.
yeah, well, that's insider trading. So he's had to give it all back, and he will be on house arrest for some time, which is more punishment than anybody involved in the Equifax leak got.
8 months on house arrest. That almost, in some circles, that would be considered, a reward.
You got to think he's probably talented enough he could work from home. He could figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if he's got kids, though? Ooh.
Kids probably go to school or daycare every now and then if him and his wife are both working.
Yeah, but now he's at home. So there's no reason to waste money on childcare. Now he just has to do it. I hope he has a house full of them. I hope he has like 8 kids and 5 dogs. And every moment is excruciating. Actually, I don't know why I feel bad about he's not the bad guy here.
Yeah, not really.
Equifax is the bad guy here.
Yes, but also...
Of course, if you were on the other side of those puts, you'd probably disagree.
Yeah.
Well, we've all got smart homes now, right? With any luck at all, I'm going to be populating a home soon, I hope. And the question is, how do you avoid these Internet of Things abominations?
Wendell wants to hook your whole... he wants to make Ryan's house a project for Level 1.
Yeah, we're probably not going to do that. Well, it made more sense when I was going to demolish a bunch of stuff. But that's out the window now.
Well, you could still... demolish whatever house you buy.
I could, but that would be wasteful. Okay, so the question is, all of these things, everything's spying on you now. So what if the cops want that data?
They can now get it. Well, to be fair, these smart home tech makers don't want to say if the feds come for your data, which means you should probably assume that they've come for your data and they already have it.
Yeah, and they probably have a one phone call policy of yes, just call us up and we will give you that. Don't worry about the warrant. We'll do that later.
Which is crazy because you're paying for the privilege of having the hardware and the convenience. Just
like the biometrics. Look at Facebook,
Well, at Facebook, you're not actually paying for. That's the difference. They always say, if you're not really paying anything, then you're the product. Whereas in this case, you're actually buying a product.
That's true, yeah.
And you're still getting screwed.
But, they're double dipping, triple dipping. So they're selling you the product, they're selling the data, and then they're probably charging a fee to the feds when they come and want the history
to
investigate you. Because AT&T was doing that for years with the phone spying. Fascinating stuff. So
sad day.
Maybe stay away from the Internet of Things. But it's difficult. I've been looking at appliances, and
are all of them smart now?
A lot of them are smart, let me tell you.
I don't want to feel upstaged in my own home by my refrigerator. I want that thing dumb as rocks.
Well, here's why don't you just introduce this one?
Bell and Rogers ask government to simplify site blocking and criminalize streaming. Not just some streaming, all streaming. What?
Well, they don't. They're talking about copyright material.
Yeah.
But criminalize is the key word there.
Yeah.
It's not a criminal matter. Streaming some sort of Disney movie. Okay, if they want to come after you financially, okay. But are we really going to lock people up for sending ones and zeros out into the ether?
Streaming Ariel live on Twitch.
What? Ariel live?
Yeah, Ariel like that, or Little Mermaid. Never mind.
Oh,
clearly you're not a fan of classic Disney.
But you're saying the movie Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you didn't. I don't know her name. I do know her name, but it didn't register. Anyway, Bell and Rogers. So they had this this court hearing, and the court hearing was to talk about copyright and how more money was going to go to the creators, right? Because we did remember last week Trump had his I can't remember what he called it, but it was the music law that he changed.
Oh yeah, shoot, I can't remember the name of that either.
This was supposed to be similar to that, where it's okay, let's talk about how the little people are going to get paid better for all this kind of stuff, and the ISPs, who are also media companies, which is a problem, spent the whole time talking about criminalizing streaming and blocking sites because The reason the little people aren't getting paid are those evil pirates.
I like to imagine that whoever was like the head of that meeting was trying to redirect them back to like, okay, but you guys promised you would start paying more, and we've got some evidence here. And then they're like pirates, and they just like scream and throw their hands down on the table.
Well, you can read the excerpts there, and they really did they kept dressing them down. They were like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not here to talk about that. Okay, fine. Pirates are bad. Everybody agrees. Let's talk about this other thing. And then these people were just like, I'm sorry, but we can't.
I'm real worked up about it.
As long as these pirates are acting, we can't give anybody anything. There's just nothing because it's all being stolen. It's been proven over and over that most pirates wouldn't buy it anyway. I would say that 90% of the stuff that I may have pirated over the years, I'm not saying I did.
You never would.
Hypothetically. I think I would either wait a very long time until physical media was very cheap or just go without it. You know what?
Yeah.
I can live without Game of Thrones as much as I enjoy it. I would just live without it. Or I'd get a box set on Craigslist, Now, I'd start watching season 1 now for like $10. Well, when you talk about copyright and government and, just stamping down on your neck, no country, anywhere, maybe China, but even China doesn't really care about copyright. They just care about free speech. But when it comes to copyright, there's the number one game in suppressing freedoms.
I can't even read from this far
Oh my
back.
God, what is wrong with you?
I was going to read the title and I was like all ready to go because that was a good setup. And then I just was like, I can't. I like squinted and had to lean
You
out.
have a serious problem.
This site has terrible. Look how small the headlines are on this site compared to some of the others.
Okay.
This is tech.
So it's Australia is the answer there. And Australia, they have, so the headline is, as predicted, Australian government looks to creep site censorship into search censorship.
Which we've already seen with China, as we mentioned before. And now they want to do that in Australia.
But again, China doesn't care about copyright. China just wants you to not, they don't want
not
you
to
learning,
criticize the government or search for Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, they don't want you learning about freedom.
Yeah.
They don't care if you steal things. But in Australia, they actually have site blocking. So if somebody complains and they're like, hey, somebody's giving away my copyright material and here's the site, the government will just send out to the ISPs. They're like, hey, block it, bro. But because it's the internet and it's easy to make copies of sites, they just get a new domain or they put up a proxy somewhere. And guess what? That bypasses it. And you got to go through the whole process again. So the media companies are saying, gosh, this is too hard. We need to suppress this at the search engine level so that no one can find this evil, even if they try to change its name.
Which, I mean, obviously we know Google will play ball with that because they're trying to implement that in China. Do you think that they can do that with every search engine? Will it become a game now of not just, you don't just Google something, you go to, if you're searching for certain things, you go to Bing or Ask Jeeves or
I've seen
DuckDuckGo or whatever that is.
I've definitely seen people predict that the internet could split into 2, possibly 3 internets in the coming years because there's going to be one that's kind of Western and one that's Chinese and maybe one that's Russian, or maybe the Russian Chinese will be together. So, and then maybe Australia gets its own as well. Which, that's exactly what the creators of the internet imagined.
Yeah.
When they created the World Wide Web.
We're not going to see memes from other countries now.
Well, you're certainly not going to if you're Australian. And you know what else you're not going to see? Is
The drop bear.
the best thing about GTA.
Grand Theft Auto cheats, homes are rated. So if you're someone who has the cheats or was building the cheats, your homes can get rated. This was also in Australia, correct?
Right.
RIP. I was sad about this because
It really is the most fun.
it really is the fun. Like when you're playing multiplayer and someone like spawns in 100 wildcats on top of you, that's hilarious. That's funny every time.
But to be fair, you and I, the way we play GTA, we don't really care what happens. Right? We're just
there to take a Sunday drive.
just a sandbox, having some fun. People keep sniping you, and you're like, oh, look at that. My character's dying.
Yeah.
It's funny. Some people, I imagine, are very serious about it. And those people, I guess it's not fair to them that they're losing. But more importantly, people aren't buying shark cards when you're showering them with money.
That's true.
And that's what the GTA people care about. So they won't, supposedly, or yet, maybe we should say, they won't come after you for purchasing the cheat and using it, you will get banned. They won't kick down your door. But if you create the cheats and sell them, they will come after you.
How much did they say? The cheats were running for what, $30?
I think 30 US, 40 and whatever ridiculous currency they use over there.
Kangaroo money, I think.
It's just
Kangaroo
called the
feet.
Australian dollar.
Roofie.
How sad if your country has to precede its dollar with the name of the country, because everybody knows who the real dollar is.
Just dabbed on Australia.
I'm killing time. I'm trying to delay because this site won't load.
Yeah, it's not. This is typical. We actually already had a crash of the browser tab earlier, and take a drink awkwardly into the mic.
Sad. I don't want to do this story without...
I don't even remember what story this was now.
This is the Russians.
Not the Russians. Oh, look, it's just... Is it redirecting to the homepage? Oh, no.
No,
There's the article.
Here we go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Russian spacewalk to investigate air leak causing hole in the space station rescheduled for December. This is kind of interesting because I seem to remember that it was the Russians who they thought drilled a hole through the wall of the space station.
It was their capsule.
Yeah.
For sure. But the Russians are saying it's the Americans.
And now we'll never know.
Well, we have to wait till December at least. So they were scheduled to spacewalk, and now they can't do that because the launch failed. We had the, they were trying to take the pod up, and there was a collision on the boosters. And they had to abandon.
Oh.
So now they get their supply ship. So can you imagine, like, how much fear do those guys have to live in that a hot war breaks out between the U.S. and Russia?
And then it's like, we're just up here.
Yeah.
Hey, we need a supply drop. We're running out of food.
And
Hello?
And what's going to happen, right? And then, so if the Russian ship comes up, are they going to abduct the Americans?
I thought there were, well, I know it probably would change in war, but like, I thought there were rules against everyone's supposed to work together and be friendly. And
there's rules against murdering ambassadors and poisoning people with polonium too. Well, there's rules against spying and all those kinds of things. So, yeah.
Obviously, so they would be fine, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Maybe we could trade them. Maybe they'd be, bartered for enemies.
Like their bodies
POWs.
after they're dead because they don't have any food?
No, because we would have some, POWs at that point. Trade them out. Here's hoping that doesn't happen. If not only for the ISS people, but also the rest of humanity.
If you're filling out your Level 1 news bingo card right now, this is the darkest timeline. You can go on and put a check mark on that.
Yeah, the guy tweeted the drinking game.
There's a drinking game linked on our Twitter.
There's so many Wendell catchphrases though.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
I think it's too extreme of a drinking game. You have to do sips, I think.
Well, this guy was like, "Oh, take a whole shot, take 2 shots," and I was like, "Oh, dude, no."
Yeah, maybe
That's too much. I don't want to die.
Maybe like beer shots. Well, switching over to hardware and a little bit of software news, the big story this week has to be. That's not correct. Has to be the i9 9900K.
And I'm sure you'll be seeing all kinds of coverage from Wendell about this. He's in Florida right now to discuss.
That is not what I stated that Wendell was doing this week.
Yeah, you're wrong.
We'll see.
We'll see what Wendell says.
Well, Hot Hardware has beat him to the punch because they've already done some pretty exhaustive benchmarking. And it turns out, is the i9 9900K the top dog? Kind of. Only for, single-threaded performance? Well, single-threaded performance is very good. And in gaming, it does edge out the Threadripper stuff at 1080. Now, at 4K, it's pretty much a dead heat. I think actually at 4K, one of the Threadrippers beat it by 1 frame per second. So obviously, this is garbage. Well, it's a great processor. I don't think you can take anything away from it. The other thing about it is it has some hardware hardening against Spectre and Meltdown. So this is one of the first generations of chips where they're actually trying to fix it at the hardware level. I don't think it's total, but maybe better. It's a step. Now, the problem is, as you can see right here, right now on Amazon, this is going to cost you $579.99. I think the Threadripper goes for about $350. That sounds right. So you're getting basically the same performance, if you average everything out.
And $300 cheaper. That's
Quite a bit. Not quite 300.
Well, okay. Actually, I guess you know what, you're just cutting it off so that way someone in the YouTube comments isn't like, actually it wasn't quite $300. It would be like this much.
Well, listen, Kristen, maybe your riches mean a sum of something like $50 to $75 is meaningless, but to the rest of us, that means something.
I was just rounding. That's a math skill I learned in school. One of the few ones I remember.
When you get your new Intel processor, as many of you surely will, because you all seem to upgrade relentlessly for no apparent reason, you're going to want a new GPU as well, right? Well, have caution.
Careful, you could get a fraud. But luckily there's a way to tell if you have a fraud. GPU-Z can now detect fake NVIDIA graphics cards. And look at this little cute UI. Danger.
Regular kind, danger. Copy. It also puts the word fake in the name up here.
Which, I mean, that has to hurt after you spend all your money on your new graphics card and it's like, oh.
Yeah. So what's happening here is mostly in China, someone will get a crappier NVIDIA card, overwrite the BIOS to give it a name of a better NVIDIA card, and sell it on, like an eBay type site. So you can now check against that.
But
probably
not
can't.
until after you've already ordered it.
Yeah, probably not going to be able to do anything about it, but at least you'll know. If at least you won't be like, these NVIDIA cards are trash. No, it's not them.
Or, maybe it is. But you'll be able to tell with this program.
Well, if you do any kind of development work, you probably use some sort of version control. And GitHub is the popular one, although after its recent acquisition by Microsoft, a lot of rats got off that ship. But they're trying to bring you back with new features.
GitHub now launches Actions, its workflow automation tool. You can add files that will let you, see if someone's checked in. You can get an email if someone's checked in. All kinds of neat little
Basically,
things like that.
Anything you can put in a Docker file, you can assign to a task. And they're saying it's going to revolutionize how you automate your workflow, your development workflows.
This is a terrifying idea if you're have a crazy project manager, though, because, they'll be getting emailed about literally everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was...
Set that up.
Remember the Japan, I think, created that software. It was like Slack, except every entry emailed everybody and text messaged everybody. And if you did,
someone's going to set that up, and then they're going to be like, remove Actions, I don't want it.
And if you didn't respond within a certain amount of time, you got a bad report. So, it didn't matter if it was in the middle of the night or weekends
or if it
or
was
whatever.
even relevant to you.
Exactly, yeah. And it showed whether or not you read them and when you read them.
Scene.
So if
Check.
if you didn't even open it, that was real bad. So you can build that all now on GitHub. Won't that be nice?
God, that would make me so angry because it's such a waste of time if it's not something you need to be involved in. It's like, oh, let me stop what I'm doing to read these 20 messages that just came in. Oh, wait, none of them are for me.
Well, one other thing that you might be busy with when you can't answer your messages is playing some hot battle royale action and using the Discord app to chat with your friends while doing so.
Well, and it's not chatting so much as strategizing the best way to win, because I play to win.
Right.
You know how good I am at those games.
I like your strategy of holding down the horn in every vehicle that you get in.
Yeah,
PUBG.
well, it's an intimidation factor.
Right, psychological warfare.
Yeah.
I get it.
Anyway, Discord's new terms of service say users can't sue. This is a shady move by Discord, but it's not enough for me to hate it yet. I still love Discord.
It is awfully convenient.
It is so convenient.
Yeah.
And it has so many nice features. It's probably spying on literally everything you type, but...
Yeah, and we do have our Level 1 text Discord, and we've got the PGP Discord, which, boy, that's a boring place sometimes, let me tell you.
Which, you read mostly the PGP one. I try to check in on both.
Well, sometimes they'll get real aspy, arguing about motherboards, and, it's like, oh, well, I have this, and, I'm thinking about getting this, and it's just like, dear God.
Oh, don't get them started on alcohol. There's a bunch of people are going to show up and be like...
Keyboards.
Keyboards. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
My boyfriend's a keyboard person. You get him
Yeah.
started on him.
You know, like a lot of people, they'll be like, hey, when are you guys going to do a meetup? And it's like, that's just going to be a human version of the Discord. And I can't close the window.
I feel like we could do a meetup, but I feel like we would be disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
To meet.
Yeah, we don't have the...
We don't have the charisma.
Well, I don't think a lot of people would show up.
The chutzpah. We don't have the chutzpah for, this like prolonged socialization.
Look that one up.
It's a Yiddish word, right?
Well, that's all we've got for today. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at some business and social media. How exciting is that?
Super exciting. You should like, favorite, and subscribe and share this video to show how excited you are.
We have confirmed that you can't favorite, right?
Favorite a video?
Right.
Yeah, we could add it to a playlist of liked videos, I guess,
That's
but
not
it's not the same.
But if you like it, it
Yeah,
automatically goes into liked videos.
yeah, into your folder. Anyway,
You should
have a great day.
try anyway. Call up YouTube and be like, listen, I need a favorite feature because I have so much favoritism to show toward my favorite channel.
But YouTube will be too busy trying to figure out what caused the meltdown the other day. Spoiler
I
for
didn't even-
next episode.
No, I didn't even put that in there.
Oh, we should include it.
But I mean, it's over now. How long did it last? A couple hours?
Yeah. It
All
was
right,
like
we'll-
an hour.
We'll talk about it.
All right. Bye.